Now, something I wanted to show you, you're probably asking, well, how the hell do you get that up single-handed? Well, it's easy. What you do is you feed sections in. Now, I brought it down considerably, so we're looking at the top guys there, but if you come down here, you'll see I'm holding it in my hand. It's not touching the ground. I am holding the whole thing up with one hand in the wind. Now, the reason you can put these up so easily is because the guy lines, all three of the top ones, are in position and they are connected. Yeah, so now I've walked away from those two over there, and as you can see, they're tight. So basically I am leaning this pole slightly away from myself. I'm just holding it in my hand, it's quite heavy actually. I'm leaning it away from myself, so it's balanced. See, I can wave it about, I can wobble it. But because it's leaning away from me, the other two guys are holding it up for me. If I let go, the whole thing will collapse. And likewise, if I was to just sort of start talking and put this down, and of course that's a natural thing when you're taking it down, if you put this thing down, then obviously it will collapse. So you have to keep pushing. I'm pushing against these guys, push. And you see, as I lift my arm higher, the guys are going up and it's pulling it over my head. So if I want to put another section in, I can't do it because I need to hold the camera. I will grab section, I will clip it in, and then I will begin to step back and lift, and it will go up and up and up over my head. And once you get to that point where, you know, it's the full length, the full sections, they will all three go tight, and there you go. So there you go. So now to bring this down, I really can't do it without letting go of the camera. But I'm going to walk one step forward. You don't want it to go over your head, because if you do, you can see this front guy line next to the coax there is slack. Okay, it's coiling up in here. It's completely slack. So if I let this go back over my head, it will fall all the way back over. So you always keep it tilted away from the other two guys to keep the tension. Now you can see the wind's catching it a bit. It's all gusting around in my hand. The joy with this is, obviously I'm doing this with one hand. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 6, 3, sorry, 18. So this is an 18-foot section of mast in the wind, and I'm holding it while talking to you, completely off the ground, and I'm holding it with one hand. So this is why these masts are brilliant. You can put them up single-handed. If the phone rings and you've got to answer it because it's the other half or something, well, you can gently put the mast down, but remember, you always keep that angle. You always keep this angle of just like a few degrees off vertical. If you don't, it will fall. So there we go, I've put that down. Now, just so that you understand how it's working, it's at an angle. Okay, those two guy lines are what are keeping the tension, keeping it up. The other one is slack. So as you build the sections in, you're going up, 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 and you're walking back with it, putting section after section, and when it gets to the right height, those guy lines will all go tight, hopefully. You know, a tiny bit of slack is fine because it will wobble between whichever guy line's, you know, taking the tension. You don't want it to wobble too much because obviously it's quite flexible when it's long. But the idea, the point I'm making is that this whole mast, which let's get it in a backpack, you know, it's easy to put up. You know, it's not one of those things where you're shaking and your white knuckles and your strength's exhausted and oh my god, you shouldn't do it, just one person, you know, you really need three. No, this piece of cake, you can do it single-handed. It's very easy. There is something that I will show in a minute which is important. So here we are. That's the sort of aluminium it is. Something while we're looking at the poles. Aluminium is a soft material. It's not like steel. So when you slot them together, you've obviously got friction between the two sections. Let's try and get a bit of a close up. So we slot them together, and that's it. We've got friction, and when you buy this thing, it's quite new, so it's relatively tight, and obviously you saw potentially how much that thing can flex. Whoa, wind. Bit scary. What this does, because aluminium's not a bearing surface, it makes kind of tight spots in the pole, and you're at very high risk of finding the first time you put one of these up that you can't get the parts apart again. So here's some advice. Firstly, gentle rub down with very fine grit, wet and dry, to get any burrs off when it's new. Also, as you've just seen me do, draw it off straight like that. Okay, what will happen if it gets tight? The first thing you're going to want to do is twist, and if you twist, whatever's causing the you know, the little burrs of aluminium, I can't focus close enough. Oh yeah, no, maybe I can. Yeah, you see these little nicks and indentations. What happens is, if you turn that, you know, like that, it causes whatever's causing the problem, the grit or whatever, to cut a spiral groove in the piece of aluminium, like this. And you can see there where I've done it. And then, when you try and pull it apart, the little bits of aluminium will go into those grooves and it will lock solid. So don't twist it in frustration. Always on and off straight. And the stuff that I use to actually stop these sticking together is bike lube, but it's the PTFE, you know, aerosol in a can stuff like this. With PTFE, it's quite a clean lubricant. It lubricates the surface well, you know, it's nice stuff to work with, and you need to respray them, especially after a bit of a mammoth session like this. You need to spray them and wipe them down with a rag every now and again, like every 2 or 3 times, or if they've got wet or covered in crap, you know. Keep the mast clean, look after it, and it will look after you, provided you don't hit one of those. And now I've done that entire kind of side bit halfway through, taking the mast down single-handed in the wind. That's why I like them. So I'm now going to take the rest down.